Unless you are a really confident drawer, you will probably sometimes you need to trace. I'm going to give you 5 ways that you can trace on your watercolor paper. Let's do this. I am Michelle Manriquez from Drop That Brush. I want to help people who are non-artists become artists. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell. So last week, we talked about design. This week, this is a continuation of the design, but now we have to get it on the paper, which is a whole issue in itself. You know, when I started, people would say to me, oh, you have to draw it. Oh my God, but my drawing was horrible. It was bad. And then, because I was told I had to do that, I thought, okay, I'm gonna try. And so, yeah, it was bad, really bad. So I truly believe it's okay to trace, particularly if you're trying to learn your skills at the same time. And with painting, you eventually kind of get drawing a little bit. So it kind of comes together as a skill set that takes some time. So I'm telling you, it is okay to trace. Then you're going to trace it either on the photograph using like a Micron pen. These are great pens. And on the photograph, or tracing it on a tracing paper like we talked about last week. You want to bring your design to your watercolor paper. And this is a problem. We have to be kind of gentle. We don't want to be rough with it. We put it on. You need enough pencil lines that you can actually see what you're supposed to do. I recommend actually the HB pencil, though if you're too rough, it will scratch your paper. So if you're not gentle, then don't do it. But the HB has less carbon in it, and so it doesn't move around. And a 2B pencil has a tendency to, there's a light layer of carbon on it. So, you know, I've used both. Doesn't really matter one way or the other, but just aware of it. Whether it's a photograph or a trace and sheet design, you're gonna want to use dark pen if you are going to use a light table or a window. Some people hate pencil marks. You know, I don't get the really issue. It's art. Part of art in watercolor is pencil marks. So to me, it's okay, but if you really hate it, you still have to have enough line work to be able to decide what you're going to do, unless you're really good and you can just make it up. People can. People are good. They're great. I can't do that. I have to see it, and you're going to see my lines show, and that's okay. Because in reality, when you're back 2 feet away, you never notice it. People say, they don't go, oh, look, there's a pencil line. No, they're looking at the face. They're looking at the eyes. They're looking at the lips. They're looking at the design, the art. They're not looking at a pencil line. You might be worried about it, but normally people aren't. Problems with tracing. It's not very precise. See, if you can draw, you can be more precise. Say you're doing an eye or a hand. If you don't outline everything, then you'll come up, and if the hand is your main part of your picture, you're gonna wind up having to, once you have the basic design, you're gonna wind up having to fix the hand, make it look right. Same thing with the eye. You can't just put it in there, trace it, and say, okay, that's good. No, I wish. Almost always I have to come out and gently do a little adjusting and taking some time and really studying that eye till I know what it is. And when I don't do it, I get in trouble and it looks funny and I don't know why. And I'm like, okay, should have been a little more careful. Let's talk about the 5 ways that we can trace.
This is my setup for my projectors. I have a Artograph projector and an old computer that I hook up to it. And I'm going to show you how to do that a little bit minute. I have gone over a million different ways to trace because I want to paint. So this is my table. These are kind of messy. Okay, I don't want to do that one. That one's kind of messy. That one's kind of messy too. So I have drawers, my light table. When I don't know what I'm doing and I'm confused, sometimes I use that light to help me to figure out what's wrong. This is the fancy, my very fancy setup. So my husband has this fun little thing with some tape to try to make it high enough, but I thought I'd show you what it looks like.
A thing, and the guy says, okay, draw this. And I'm like, sure, no problem. Not. All right. I mean, that's a person's face and there's lots of shadows and oh my God. So what I would do, say you didn't have anything else and you were like just freaking out a little bit. So I'd come through here and I'd draw the shapes, making sure that they're set up. On the back, say I was just doing her nose. She's my granddaughter, so I hope she doesn't mind. I'm gonna flip this over and I'm simply going to do this. And I'm using a 2B pencil. It's a very chintzy way to do this, but by God, it works. Not great, but it works. So if I'm over here, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just trace. Now let's see how it came out. Now you can see it's quite light. So I'm gonna have to come back through here and hit it up. But it worked, right? And if you're in trouble and you don't know how to do something and there you are with nothing to use, you can do that. That works. So that's number one. Number two is some kind of graphite paper. Now, let me tell you what's good. I have stuff in the back. It doesn't affect anything. I can use, I'm gonna put this down so it doesn't move, okay? Because it does make a difference. You don't want things moving around. Then you're like, okay, stop moving. All right, is a graphite paper. A lot of people, when they go to classes and stuff, they just have one of these out. Okay, one side, the shiny side is the graphite side, but it does make better lines, I think. So I'm gonna do somebody else's nose. And it basically works the same way. So I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna trace the highlight. There's the big highlight around the nostrils. Okay, let's see what we got with that. Now, it's much darker, you can see it. So this is method number two. And it works when you have things on back. The next two methods, you're going to want clean, like there's nothing on the back. This is Liam, my grandson. He's gonna do a little bit of help. Say hi, Liam.
Hi, I'm Liam.
So here's what we're gonna trace. So what I want you to do, hold this please. When you want to trace something on a window, the third way of doing is to tape it on a window.
Wait.
Tape, get it straight, go. I've got this where it is, her nose is traced with a darker pen. What we're gonna do, here you can see this one. So the
this is obviously, I was able to trace on this, but when I put it on a window, you won't be able to see it, and so it won't work, which requires a fresh piece of paper to do this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, hey, give me tape. So can you see that my line work? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to trace it just where I have the line work. You can see the lines. There you go. That's what I want you to do. You're doing great. Go ahead.
Draw the nose.
Yep, draw the nose. That's what I want you to do. And there's my dog. Anybody can do this. This is not hard.
Yep. Anybody can do this.
So this last week, I've got my flip print thing, and say I want to draw.
Now what to?
So it's really important to have a dark line. It makes it much easier if we've gotten rid of the information that we don't care about and use the ones that are important. And so this is why it makes it much more easier to, all right, that's good. So you can see how easy that is to use that on a window. Certainly it's inexpensive and it's simple. So again, this is a light table. A light table costs quite about a amount of money. I actually, if I had the choice between a light table and projector, I would use the projector by far. Put tape on it. And again, we are not able to use things that has something in behind of it because you won't be able to see it. It blocks your view. Will you do me a favor and do her nose? What we have to do is what? We always are going to have to make sure it stabilizes the paper to make sure it doesn't move. With tape, yeah, you got it. Okay. Okay, that's not helpful.
Sorry. I love you.
And it certainly makes it easier. Turn the lights on a little bit. It is pretty simple. Now I'm going to have him draw the lips, which are a little not drawn. So you're going to do the lips and the teeth. So try to hit everything. We'll see how it goes. Get the teeth. There's little teeth mark things. There we go. You're doing great. Let's see. So it's better if we have the information outlined with a pen rather than just drawing it, because you miss things, and that does make a difference.
I know she looked like a monster, but I tried.
Okay, and you will see that when we do this, when we can't actually clearly see, it made a difference. And so that's okay. No problem. I'm going to fix it. What happens is if you have not drawn it, you will miss. He did what everybody does when we're turning to draw, is we do what we think it should be. She had monster teeth. Liam, to go ahead and draw it again with where it's been drawn. This gives you a nice idea of what you can do with the light table. Go ahead, Liam. Go ahead and do her lips. So Liam's gonna draw it.
I think I just did the wrong thing. I think this is a mouth.
It's okay. Just draw exactly what you see, baby, not what you think you see. Yeah, one of the things is when we're learning to draw, we have to look at how it really looks, not necessarily what we think we're doing. He is doing a great job. We are just doing exactly what the lines are. See, and it's easier to see it if it's already been lined out, whereas if you are having on a photograph, it's very easy to make it difficult, and you'll have major issues, and you're going to be fixing, and then you start fixing on your paper, and it causes problems. A way to handle this, I spent, I think, $500, full sheet size. I'm not even sure if you can buy them anymore. I know you can get smaller ones, but favorite is a projector, so we're going to go there next. I have this stand, which I think is around 150, and it will allow me to go up and down, and so I can move it this way, that way, and I can move it at higher or lower. A photo card, and I'm going into my start. So I go into computer and I'm looking for this file, removable disk, and that's where all my photos are at. So I have landscapes, people. I have on my computer screen is now on there. So I'm gonna hook on and get a picture. So this sends it to there. So whatever I have on my computer screen, it will show. I have this. I spent so much money doing things, and this is the best thing I've ever done. And I've actually taken it to hotels and put things on and been able to, this lovely gentleman. So I just want you to see what the setup is. So I have the projector, the computer, and a whiteboard so I can, it was just like a $10 whiteboard. Once I've adjusted it and got the correct size, this I can use an ugly back of it and you can still see it, which is so lovely. Look at that hat, it's a great hat. So I've decided I'm going to do his eyes. Maybe I'll do his ears. You know, ears are good. A little highlight there. That's his ear. Let's do an eye. Now, as I'm looking at this, I truly can't see where's the eye, where it lands. So that's a little problem. And so even though it gives me the basic shape, I will still have to come back and carefully look to see, because see, I really can't see it. That highlight is actually the white, which means this must be right here. And it looks like there's another highlight there. But it would be hard, as I'm looking at this, I can't see the part of his eye, which means even though I've traced it, I'm still gonna have to come back, look at the original photo and see that what actually everything is happening. So as I'm looking at this, you can see I don't have all the information that I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to go back, look at this, figure out where is the other part of the eye, because when I'm looking at it, it didn't look like I knew where the end is. This is going to be white, but obviously this area has some bluish, definitely darker cones. And that requires me to look at this and think about it. It's not just as simple as, oh, I'm going to draw it. And I do trace. I don't always trace. I trace people mainly. Now I'm able to do most of the flowers and I'm able to do the simple landscape. People, yeah, they gotta be right. If it's not right, it'll look funky. And you'll think, okay, something's wrong. I encourage you to trace and draw at the same time so that over time, both your drawing skills and your painting skills kind of go up and get better with time. But if your heart is set on painting, it's okay to trace. Don't let anybody tell you different, because the reality is this would be something that you love and you want to enjoy. So what if it takes a little time to do this? It's okay. Be kind to yourself. You can do this. I know you can. Just enjoy watercolor and the entire process, even if it is tracing a little drawing and a little paint. Just enjoy watercolor. Say hi.
Hi.
You know when you're brushing and you don't know what you're doing? What do you
Drop
do? That brush.
Like, subscribe, and ring that bell.
Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you.
Bye.
I'm cute.